Hello again, welcome back to the channel. My name is Wayne Marinovich. I'm a resilience life coach here at A Resilient Path. Today's topic is, what is resilience life coaching? I'm going to go into a few bits of details just to roughly explain why it is in the world and what it entails and how you can work with me if you need any help. So let's look at it from a bigger perspective first. Life in the 21st century has pretty much been overwhelming and bloody difficult, I would think. Technology's been racing ahead faster than our brains can actually catch up. And it's easy to understand why people are struggling to keep up and make sense of it all, why so many people are feeling stuck, unfulfilled and no longer having purpose in their lives. And I think this is especially if you're a young person. And so we just need to take a step and look at it and go, this was supposed to be the era, the connected era, where we were more connected than ever. We had technology doing all our work for us, so our productivity would be great, and we'd be sitting back and living a great life. Instead, we're stuck. Many people are really suffering with purposes. Now, I remember coming to my mid-40s. And I'd lost all drive, really, and ambition. It just seemed to have evaporated. And in hindsight, and I spent 3 years trying to analyze why and what happened, and it was never about failure. It was more about that I'd completed so many things that when I looked out in the world, I couldn't understand. My path looked a bit blurry, and it was a fog, and I couldn't see a way through. And so I spent a long time just coming to terms with using different kinds of self-help methods to actually find a purpose again, and your purposes just don't disappear overnight. This is something that I think everybody needs to get their head around is, it's there because you've ticked all the boxes. In your 20s, you had a whole checklist of things you had to achieve to be successful or by the time you wanted to retire. So those checklists have been ticked now. So it's easy to sit back and go, I don't know what to do next. And to compound it all, we have a world that's changing faster, and the old ways that we used to do things just don't exist anymore, right? The playbook, as they say, is all changed, or how you fix yourself. How do you take yourself forward? So stress and anxiety is incredibly high amongst humans at the moment, and because you sort of either realize, well, I don't fit in anymore with what I want, or I can't see a way forward. I look at the world and go, hold on, what the hell is happening here? And I think this is something coaching, especially resilience coaching, I lean on heavily is trying to emphasize that you can't build a compelling future for yourself and your family, if you're constantly drowning in stress and anxiety. It is just something that it just doesn't happen, because you'll be too drawn away from being able to dream big and think big and find dreams in the future when you are overstressed and highly anxious about things in the present. And I mean, this is where resilience life coaching comes in, because resilience, as I've said in many videos and across all the articles I write, is not about toughness. It's about bouncing back, right? I use the word bounce back ability. It's about trying things and failing things and learning things and retrying things. It's about understanding that failure is critical. I think resilience coaching is the bridge between where you are right now and where you want to be, but in a world that's moving and changing faster than you can pinpoint. So it's not just about small growth or little minor changes. It really comes down to reinventing yourself, and that's what I really push hard is to get this thinking behind where you've got a version 1 and a version 2. Your 20-year-old self was at version 1. Your new self has to be version 2, and you can't go back to that young person anymore. It's the coaching is specializing in a changing world that I can help you with, and I can help you be a bridge to get those goals set for the future, but also make them quite resilient and future-proof, let's call it that. So I think just to clarify, this is much more than traditional life coaching. Life coaching is effective method because it provides like a single map for you for where you want to go. But in today's chaotic world, a map's not good enough. And resilience life coaching is about giving you some armor, to protect yourself with a bit of forward future thinking that helps you navigate the journey and survive the journey. Okay, life coaching sort of does treat, as I said, it's effective, but it treats everything sort of in a vacuum. It focuses on your habits and your goals and what morning routines are. It focuses on your mindset day to day. It focuses on individual goals like, getting a new job. How do you get ready for that? How do you prepare for the interview? How do you find a new partner? Or things like that. So it also assumes that the world is at peace, I think. And yes, I'm generalizing, I know. But, the world is not at peace. We're kind of in the beginning stages of a force 5 hurricane here. And I think because we live and work in a world that's moving at breakneck speeds, where our economy's not just shifting, but it's creaking and it's groaning under the weight of debt and the weight of the inability to keep producing new debt. Struggling is natural. Okay, the problem we have is that the old rules that we've used to help ourselves, i.e., through life coaching traditionally, is no longer fit for purpose because it seems that everything changes every week. So I think this is where my mixture of doing life coaching and also my 30 years of looking at macro analysis helps me to put together and help people find paths forward that change the inner part, but also allow them to prepare for the outer world and the external world. It's why I focus on resilience. So if you're 40 or older, you'll have no doubt seen a lot of change in the world. You, like myself, you probably grew up in a world way before the internet or Google, a world of diaries and big mobile phones and fax machines. And it worked. This is the thing. People can laugh at it, but we ran businesses. We were successful in our lives. We ticked off those boxes. As I said, those boxes are now ticked. So people in midlife are now looking around, and it doesn't matter if you've made it, because that's the problem. It's just because you've made it, what do you do now? What's next? And I think, a lot of stress comes into is filtration, filtering through from social media and mainstream media, where we know that the world we were born into is gone, and we're no longer going back to a state of normal. That, like I said, the ways we learned, the methods we fixed our lives are based on an old school and an old world. So yes, maybe you've carved your path out in life, but now you're struggling to understand where you are. Never mind where you're going in a macro world where there's some dark storm clouds coming on the horizon. It really are. I write about it. I've got some new videos coming out, so please look out for it. It'll be around the 17 issues, which I call how I believe the modern era ends, through a collapse due to complacency. So, part of this is why resilience life coaching can be so beneficial to you, is because it helps plot the way forward in a turbulent world. So there's a lot changing, and there's a lot to be fearful of in a changing way of life. But there's also a lot of strength that can be garnered from this, because all the coaching does is it takes you from where you are, the person you are and the version you are, and it takes you into a better version that's resilient, that's more capable, and able to actually roll with the punches more, because we genuinely don't. We've had it so easy since the 1960s that we struggle as a species now to take the body blows, pardon the boxing analogy. So yeah, I'm here. That's what the channel's about. That's what my coaching's about, is to help you understand the chaos and to navigate it. Right? There's a big thing that's easy to understand it. It's easy just look at the doom and gloom, the scrolling we do. But how do you test yourself unless you make plans to go and try new things out there, knowing you're going to fail and also knowing that you're going to learn from that failure? So this is where I come in, right? My skills, as I said earlier, lie in a combination of coaching and life coaching and macro analysis of energy, economics, environment, and geopolitics, which I've sort of been self-studying and been, chasing for and learning about for the last 30 odd years. So I usually start off with a 30-minute taster session. So this is just a video call or a phone call, just to ascertain how we fit. To go through them, and I usually preempt it by sending you a questionnaire which allows us to maximize the 30 minutes, to find out what the issue is. Is it a generalized issue where it's I've lost all purpose or drive, or is it a more specific issue where I'm struggling to understand the economy, I'm struggling to find my place in this particular area or something like that. That's what we do. It's also a chance to see whether we fit, because we have to both fit. In other words, if you need therapy, then I'm not that person, and I'll quickly work that out, and then advise you to go and see a therapist, because coaching is not therapy, right? We're not, as coaches, we're not here to get under the hood and dig into the engine, right? We're here to help you create your life for you by being cheerleaders, by sitting in the car while you're driving, plotting the way forward on the sat-nav. So, after 30 minutes, if we're going to go ahead with it, I'll sculpt either a full bespoke program, which usually lasts, say, 6 to 10 sessions, depending on what you want achieved. Or it could be a smaller session of a few hours. Just very, looking forward to the whole concept of this channel is about a resilient path that is life coaching for your future, okay, and not the present, but a tougher version of yourself in the future. I help my clients understand that the chaos is in the changing world, and you've got to just stop trying to get by and start building. So it's not about survival; it's about building, and creating some visions that are quite stormproof. So I didn't want to make this a long video. That's all for now. I hope you understand how resilience life coaching works, and if there's any way I can help you, please leave some comments, also ask more questions. I'll more than happy to jump on and reply. Like and subscribe the video if you can. I really appreciate it. It allows YouTube to put this video in front of other people who may need it. So yeah, as always, I wish you peace and great beer.